Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Now that it's very clear that XRP absolutely has broken out of its range after being in that symmetrical triangle for almost 7 years, let's have a little bit of fun reviewing what a number of chart analysts are saying we should expect next now that it has broken up. And we're waiting for it to resume to the upside, at least at the time that I'm recording this. But, you know, it's not going to get to wherever it peaks this cycle. It's not going to get there all in one go. So the fact that it pauses or even, goes down to whatever degree, that's to be expected. That's not scary. I'm staying in excited mode, just to be clear here. But there's a particular chart analyst who is justifying why he believes we're going to see double-digit XRP specifically to the $13 level. But wherever you think this thing's going to peak, I'll just say this. XRP is the one that it makes sense to invest in my humble opinion. That's where the opportunity is for life-changing wealth. Now, that's not me telling you to go buy or sell or do anything. I'm just sharing my very genuine opinion here. The opportunity is not in Bitcoin. The opportunity is, frankly, it's in altcoins, and XRP just happens to be the one that I'm most excited about for a ton of reasons I've been articulating for many, many years. And this does seem to be the moment. Like, it actually has broken out. So I'll share with you multiple perspectives from a number of analysts here. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. So this is going to be another video that's very heavy, specifically talking about XRP. But I do want to start by sharing with you this post from Credible Crypto, who I think is one of the best chart analysts out there. There's a reason he's got 433,000 followers. And in this post, he explains effectively why doesn't really make sense for a hodler anyway to be buying Bitcoin at these levels. And he does mention XRP in this post, and this is a newer post from him. But here's what he had to say, and I firmly believe this to be the case. The opportunity for life-changing wealth, it's not in Bitcoin at this point. It's in the altcoins like XRP. And so here's what he had to say. There is zero reason to be FOMOing into Bitcoin at these levels. If you're a trader, there's a trade to take at these highs, but as a spot buyer / investor, buying here doesn't make much sense. In the bullish case, Bitcoin breaks $100,000 plus and keeps chugging along, and at the end of the day, you might make a whopping 2x from these levels, give or take, when all is said and done for this fifth wave. Alts, on the other hand, will do 2x in a couple of days if Bitcoin breaks bullish, like XRP just did. And many will do 5, 10, 50x by the end of the cycle. In the bearish case, you'd be buying a local top before a potential 20 to 50% drawdown. And for what? A potential 2x from here? If we take the bullish path from here on up, the risk-reward vastly favors buying select altcoins versus Bitcoin at this price point. If we take the bearish path and break down to $70,000 to $72,000 region, then I think it would make sense to start eyeing up Bitcoin again as an investor. Right, so given where we are, even then, I personally would still not be interested, even if you do see a breakdown to those levels. And I don't know if that's probable or not. It doesn't matter. Either way, the real opportunity very clearly is in altcoins. And it's just so fascinating because Bitcoin is the one that gets all of the media, not literally all of it, but the vast majority of the media attention. It does bring people into the crypto space. But man, in a way, I feel bad for people that are only interested in purchasing Bitcoin. I understand that they feel like it's safer. It's number one in market cap. It's the oldest one. Well, okay. But there are so many coins that are undervalued against Bitcoin, like XRP. Even after the surge, XRP, in my opinion, was... because look, it's been artificially suppressed for years. So yeah, I would still argue that it's certainly underpriced against Bitcoin. I just don't think it's going to stay there. So, you guys do whatever you want to do. But if you're altcoin heavy, then you're kind of like me, because that's absolutely what I do. So I do still hold Bitcoin, but I've been holding it since 2017. We're at a point now where I'm like, okay, I should probably just start scaling out of my Bitcoin position. Like that's what I'm intending to do this cycle. I could even start now, and it would be perfectly reasonable for me to do so. I mean, the first time I bought Bitcoin, it was like $6,500 or so. I held it when it was as low as like $3,200 at the bottom of that 2018 bear market. So for that, yeah, I think it's time for me to maybe take some profit. But so that'll be fun. I'll be happy to do that. But the real opportunity for life-changing wealth, it's with everything else that hasn't gone that crazy yet. There's so much less money in XRP, which means it doesn't take much coming in to get it to double in price, triple, quadruple, so on and so forth. Here's a post from chart analyst Dr. Magic. It's an XRP chart, but it's not an XRP USD chart. This is XRP against the M1 money supply, and it's fascinating because M1, of course, that's the most liquid money that's on the planet right now. And so he had an interesting thought about this because obviously at moments where there's sufficient liquidity, that does kind of cycle through the space. So for that reason, it's kind of interesting to have the XRP M1 chart here. And he found something interesting. So take a look at this. He says, we almost tagged the level we topped in 2021. This time, it's just the beginning. And so I'll just pause and note for those of you looking at the screen. He's talking about this high in 2021 versus where we are now. It's like the same, except for in this case, it looks like the party's barely even gotten started for XRP, which is why this is so exciting. And then, and you've got the relative strength index at the bottom here. And then he says, notice how RSI is about to enter above 70 territory. That's here for those of you looking at the screen, which hasn't happened since 2017. So he's referencing here where it's shaded green. To print all-time highs, we need a 10x from here. Raise your targets. And so he's clearly thinking that we're not thinking big enough when it comes to price in terms of where this thing's actually going to peak. Because if that's the case for XRP M1, what does that mean ultimately in terms of where we're going to peak on an XRP USD chart? I'm guessing high. I'm guessing pretty damn high. Here's a post from chart analyst Bobby A talking about other XRP pairs. So here's XRP ETH. This was from July 1st. He shared this. And he was showing that indicating here because he showed a accumulation schematic, Wyckoff events and phases, where he thought that we're in that process. And so he just reposted this last night, the XRP ETH chart, and he wrote the following. This chart is practically screaming to you that XRP will outperform the living S word out of Ethereum in the coming year or years. Still, you're unknowingly so preconditioned to follow the herd that you will miss out on one of the largest transfers of wealth this market has ever seen. Okay, well, that may be true of some people. They're going to miss out. I'm not. I have broad exposure. I actually do hold ETH, but in terms of what my expectations are, I've been pretty clear. I think that XRP is going to dwarf both Bitcoin and Ethereum in terms of performance this market cycle. So if you look at the bottom to the top of the cycle for Bitcoin and on its own, and then ETH on its own, and XRP on its own, I think it's going to be clear that XRP's a very dominant winner when this is all said and done. So we'll analyze that once the cycle's done, but that would be my expectation because XRP has been so artificially suppressed price-wise for so long, and now it's finally genuinely broken out. It absolutely has broken out. And we've been waiting years for that, literally years. This is such an exciting time for any XRP holder. And then there was this from chart analyst Crypto Insight UK, and this is an XRP BTC chart. So XRP price against Bitcoin. And he says, everyone focused on XRP USD. The XRP BTC is the chart to be watching, I feel. Rejecting the trend line currently, a clean break and things get crazy. And so, again, we just broke out of that nearly 7-year symmetrical triangle of XRP against the dollar. That's real. That is broken out. But what he's saying here is, if you look at XRP pricing against Bitcoin, we haven't broken out yet. So now the bottom's in. It's a virtual certainty at this point. I think that most people would say. I'd certainly guess it for fun at this point. The bottom for XRP against Bitcoin was June 7th of this year, and then it got way up and then went a fair bit back down. But we haven't seen a new low since then. And then it's just rocketed up there, rocketed up, especially thanks to what's happened yesterday, but really ever since the election ended, pretty much anyway. And he's saying once you break out of this trend line, though, that's when the real fireworks start. But like I said, it's my full expectation XRP is going to substantially outperform Bitcoin. And so that's part of the reason I started the video the way that I did by sharing that post from Credible Crypto, because it resonates with me. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So people can do whatever they want. They can buy Bitcoin, and then when they take some profit, if they want to roll into other large cap coins, so on and so forth, that's normally how humans behave, fine. My gut's telling me that the people that are just going to go straight into the altcoins are going to make way more money. There's also this post from chart analyst Dark Defender. This is an XRP USD chart, and he wrote the following. Yesterday, we hit the mid-resistance at $1.26, and XRP bounced back. I then set a new structure and targets, which we analyzed based on Fibonacci levels. You know our previous famous Fibonacci levels played flawless roles for almost a year. 39.17 cents, 66.49 cents, $1.03, etc. Yeah, so those are key levels he's been talking about forever. And now we've broken through all three of them. And then he says one of the other two famous Fibonacci levels were $1.88 and $5.85, which are in progress. And so, folks, he does believe we're going to hit that. And he absolutely buys into the idea of double-digit XRP price this market cycle, which is certainly plausible as far as I'm concerned. We'll see what happens. I don't make predictions, but certainly plausible. And he says, seeing a Fibonacci level born yesterday is unbelievable. I agree with that, which amazed me. This level is precisely at $13.08. So that's where I'm circling right here on the screen. He could be right. It's not a crazy target. That seems pretty well reasoned, and better hope that a ton of money does flow into Bitcoin, even though I don't think it makes sense to buy Bitcoin here, because the more money that flows in, people get all excited about the space, the more money is going to roll into XRP and everything else. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom, XRP USD chart here, and he wrote, if you use Fibs, we have reached the true test holding us back from all-time high. Price has entered golden ratio, and so he notes here that if you flip the $1.20 price, then you can rock it up to $1.60 basically. Then if you flip that, the resistance there, he seems to think that it's just like clean sailing all the way up to the all-time high. If you can break that $1.60 resistance, he's like, yeah. And I've seen stuff like that before. Even when I was brand new to crypto in 2017, there were just these broad ranges. And I'm not a chart guy, but I knew even less about it back then. There were just these broad ranges where it's just like it just wouldn't stop going. And then eventually it would hit a certain level and it would kind of go back down a little bit in range. And it trended upwards, in December 2017, ultimately into early the following year, for about 2.5 weeks. But there were certain ranges where it's just like there was nothing stopping it. And we've kind of seen that. Like there was a good bit of that, frankly, yesterday. So when it resumes to the upside, I'll not be surprised if something like that indeed ends up proving to be correct. And then there's also this from chart analyst Steph is Crypto, XRP USD chart here. And he wrote, XRP has shattered the accumulation phase after years of consolidation. This is the beginning of a historic breakout. The path to life-changing gains starts now. I would certainly broadly agree with that. But looking at this chart, you can see why almost everyone fails at investing in crypto specifically. The volatility, it just scares the hell out of people. But look what you must endure. This chart's going back a decade. Look, you go literally years in a bear market and our accumulation zone with nothing happening. You just have to wait for years and years and years and years on end to get a short period like the one where I'm circling here in 2017 where you do get the excitement. And so it eventually comes, right? But then years and years and years of nothing. And then you can think about what happened last market cycle because the SEC, we missed the opportunity for an all-time high because of the SEC. So then you had to hold even longer if you're an XRP holder, so the SEC really screwed us. But that did result in XRP, thankfully, consolidating even longer. So it's not surprising to see after all that artificial suppression and coiling for so long to see it finally breaking out. And it has. It broke out. None of the analysts that I follow think that was a false breakout the other day. So if you're here, kudos to you because most people can't handle this stuff. Seriously, that's very clear. There's also this post from chart analyst Greg Crypto, and for the sake of time, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he made an interesting point here. It's a market cap XRP dominance percentage chart. And so you can see that in 2017, XRP really dominated. Now, mind you, XRP was the top crypto performer in the entire asset class for that cycle. Increasing from about half a penny to almost $4, it was roughly an 80,000% gain literally. And so at its peak, XRP, and this is very briefly lived, but at its peak, XRP had 31.35% of the entire crypto asset class in terms of that's where the investment was. That's where the money was. It was like insane dominance. But now that was at a time where there were probably only somewhere in the neighborhood of like 1,600 different coins. So I don't know that we should expect, even if, I'm not sure. I have high conviction that we will hit a new all-time high for XRP and enterprise discovery. That doesn't mean that I think that we're necessarily going to hit 31% dominance again, but we don't need to. Now there's like tens of thousands of coins. So, and I was talking about that in a recent video, so that wouldn't surprise me. But here's what Greg Crypto did, which I thought was pretty kind of a fascinating way of looking at this. He noted that Brad Garlinghouse, he wrote here that Brad Garlinghouse, quote, has hinted that crypto's total market cap could hit $5 trillion by the end of this cycle. That's close, not technically precise. Here you can see a headline from CNBC. Ripple CEO predicts crypto market will double in size to $5 trillion by the end of 2024. So by the end of this year. Now, after this is April this year that he was predicting that. And by the way, the following week, he was asked about that on a Fox Business interview. It might have been with Maria Bartiromo, if memory serves anyway. And he was asked about that, and he like doubled down, and he's like, "Yeah, if anything, maybe I wasn't thinking big enough." So he may still think that maybe it goes beyond that. And so we're at about a $3 trillion crypto market cap right now. So there's a ways to go, but that number can get pumped up pretty damn quickly. So he could be right. I'm not going to rule it out. We'll see. Got about a month and a half left to have his prediction be correct anyway. But here's what eGreg Crypto calculated. He said, 10%. So imagine there's 10% market dominance and there's a $5 trillion market cap. He calculated that would be a price per XRP of $8.77. And if we get 20% dominance and the market cap is for the entire asset class is $5 trillion, that would be $17.54 per XRP. So what's fascinating though is a lot of analysts think that it's going to go a lot higher. Like some are predicting more like $10 trillion. So it makes you wonder. But that's the cool thing too. That's why you also don't need like a 30% dominance to get crazy returns for XRP. You really don't. You just need it to cycle through. But I thought it was kind of fascinating, so I thought I'd share it with you here. But whatever it ends up being, we'll look back on this and just be like, wow, that was one hell of a freaking ride. And I think we're going to get ours finally. After waiting all of these years, I think we finally are super, super, super close to this. And it feels more real to me and everyone else, obviously, even though I always had this strong conviction, because XRP has broken out. It absolutely has. It's up over 100% since the election. Can't fake that. That really did happen. And I just think that it's just getting started in all likelihood. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.